Hello, I'm Mary Brett, the resident doer of things. Thank you for being here. At the Doers of Things podcast, we intend to share conversations with you that demystify the creative process and humanize the journey, which are just fancy ways of saying we hope you get inspired to go out and do the things that bring you joy after hearing a fellow human share how and why they do what they do. We are all innate creators, curating our reality with every thought, word, and action. My guests all have different stories, backgrounds, and passions, but the one thing they hold in common is that they do the things that nurture the reality they want to live. They all just started somewhere and kept doing. Today, we are going to share a conversation had with Jeff Fasano, the photographer of choice for many in the Americana music world and beyond. But first, I want to let you know that this is a value for value, pay what you wish, give what you can, free will investment model listening experience. That means you get to choose what you contribute in time, talent, or treasure to reflect the amount of value you get from listening to the Doers of Things. No donation is too small, and all donations help produce the show. Head over to thedoersofthings.com to learn more in the Contribute tab. Now let's get to today's conversation with Jeff Fasano. I met Jeff while he was taking headshots at Americana Fest in 2022. I myself was at Americana Fest to see if it was even possible to grow my weekly radio show on KMXT in Kodiak, Alaska into a podcast, as well as if I could even maintain a weekly 30-minute radio show by garnering enough interviews. With my new credentials as a member of the press, I attended the industry-wide conference in Nashville and talked to anyone and everyone who crossed my path. Jeff Fasano was one of those people. When I saw he was running a special on a private photo shoot in January of 2023, I booked one. Not sure how I would pay for it. Shout out to my cousin Kate for making that happen. And I asked if we could do an interview after the photo shoot. Getting a yes from a big deal photographer was cool enough for me. But in my research, I found another vital aspect of Jeff Fasano's gifts that made me feel like our conversation was written in the stars. It's talks like this that help me know the doers of things can add real value to those who listen, myself included. But don't take my word for it. Listen until the end and see how you feel. Jeff Fasano.
Yes.
How did you end up where you're at right now? I did a little homework, and I know that you were living in New York and a corporate job around your 40s. You got out a yellow legal paper and a pen and wrote down, trying to figure out why you weren't happy. And then you somehow realized that you should be taking pictures. What was on that piece of paper that told you, I'm in the wrong line of work, I should be taking photos?
That yellow, at the top of that yellow legal pad, I wrote, what do I want to be when I grow up? That's the first thing I wrote when I came in from work into my apartment. I grabbed that, took my suit off and sat down, and I wrote at the top of that legal pad, what do I want to be when I grow up?
And how old were you at that time?
33.
33, okay.
I was 33. I had just gotten out of a relationship with a woman. It was her. What she said to me was, you hate your job, you hate your life. The only time you're ever happy is when you're with me.
Oh.
And she was right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it in the moment she said it, but 3 months later, after the relationship ended after 2 years, I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the subway, leaving the World Trade Center, going home, and I heard her say that, and my eyes opened up on the train. I was the only one in that car.
Oh, wow.
Because, it's the World Trade Center, and the train starts at South Ferry.
Okay.
So it's only the second stop afterwards. And then the train proceeds uptown and fills up. And I heard her voice say that, what I just said.
Right.
And I just went, oh, wow, it's time to grow up. And then it just hit me. I'm going to go home, and life's got to change, and yada, yada, yada. And that's what I did. I got home. What do I want to be when I grow up? And I just listed all these things that I could do, and photography was in there.
Okay.
Now, I had gone back to school to Parsons in 1988 and studied with this guy, Mario Cabrera, for 2 years. And I met Terry in 92 when I moved into Manhattan.
Okay.
And I was taking a lighting class at School of Visual Arts.
Okay.
And to learn how to use all artificial lights. And because I needed to learn that. And then I started photographing her, my nieces, nephews, her nieces and nephews, and stuff like that. After that relationship ended, that's what happened. And I had I stayed with that list, kept on adding to it. Then around like 11 o'clock at night, I literally looked at the list, and in 3D, photography leapt off the page, and I felt it in my heart and my soul, and I went, that's it.
That's pretty cool. And so then I feel like that you went to LA before you came to Nashville.
Yeah.
Is that true? How long were you there?
Well, just to continue to keep it going chronologically, I wanted to quit my job right then and there. My father said to me, no, you're not ready. And he was right. And what I did in that time period is I was shooting, there was no digital cameras at that time.
Yeah.
So I built a dark room in my kitchen. I got lights. And I just started working and building a portfolio. So I would be able to prepare myself the day that I knew that I was going to quit my job.
Okay.
And I got some jobs. I got a big job at RCA Records while I was still working. And then it was 1998, and New Year's Eve just happened to fall, I think, on that Friday. And I walked into my boss's office in October and said, I'm handing my resignation in December 31st, 1998.
Okay.
Quit my job. 1999 comes, and that's when I just started doing it professionally, and all the way up until I was living in Manhattan. And in 2011, it hit me again. I'm done with New York City.
Okay.
And I moved to Los Angeles.
And why there? Just because it's
I still don't know why.
Oh, okay.
I'm still trying to figure that one out. Why
did you know somebody or?
No, I mean I knew a lot of people
Yeah.
in LA, but I go, that's what I need to do, and I do know why. And what transpired in LA, huge learning period, made some wonderful friends, did some really cool things, but it didn't resonate for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go into all the down and dirty stuff, but it just, for me, it didn't, like I said, I met some wonderful people who are going to be in my life for the rest of my life, great friends, did some wonderful things in the photography world out there, but it just wasn't a place where I could thrive.
Yeah.
It's the hardest place for me, the hardest place in the world to live. It was so hard living there. But I had been coming to Nashville for years before that, shooting at Americana Fest.
Okay.
Doing my portrait sessions there.
Okay.
And what came to me at the time was I wanted an easier place to live. I lived in New York and lived in LA.
Both hard.
And New York is not hard to live in. New York is easy.
Okay.
New York City is so easy to live in. I didn't own a car for 20 years.
Well, yeah, easy to get around the transportation and stuff,
And when I was living there was a wonderful community of artists and musicians. But as the years went by, corporations came in and rents went up and and that's gone from New York.
Yeah.
It's non-existent in LA, but it is so prevalent here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's easy to, even though this place is growing by leaps and bounds, and
you had to pay for parking today.
Yeah, and they're building a city right around the studio where we're shooting in and doing this in, but it's easy here.
Okay.
There's a flow here. The community of artists and musicians is wonderful here. And it's small.
Yeah.
As much as it's growing, it's still small.
Yeah.
But the real crux of it is, it's all about what we resonate with and who we resonate with. So I can go on and on about the third dimensional world of LA and why that didn't work for me. But the bottom line of it is it just did not resonate with me. And I needed to be in a place that did. And New York for 20 years did.
Yeah.
But then it didn't.
Right.
I was done. I knew I was done. And then I knew I was done with LA, and now I'm here. And like I said, the community here is wonderful. The vibe here is wonderful. It's not pretentious. People are here who pull for you, who help you, and we help each other. And like I said, it's small. You can go out one night to a show and see like 5 or 6 people that you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I got here.
Who have been some of your biggest champions that have helped you get to where you are right now? You're about to release this really amazing, your first portrait book. And I'm sure there's, a lot of people that are, or at least one or two, that have helped you along this journey to kind of get where you are right now. Can you think of?
Yeah. When I first moved here, my friend Michael Weintraub, who is a wonderful photographer, he's put out his books, Instrument Head. I know Michael from New York, so when I got here, he was one of the first people that connected with me, saying, hey, you're moving here. And he was a wonderful champion on so many levels. Check out his work on his site and what he's doing. He's an incredible, incredible entrepreneur. What he's doing, good heart, good soul. He was one of the first people. I immediately went to Unity of Nashville and started going there and met an amazing bunch of guys. And we've got a men's group that we've had for 6 years, and they've become my family here. So many other people.
Yeah, so what is this Unity Nashville? What is that?
Well, Unity is a non-denominational place throughout the world.
Okay.
I used to be part of Unity of New York, where the teachings are about you.
Okay.
Moving into you, loving, honoring, and valuing you more deeply, discovering who you are, bring your greatness out into the world, and all that good stuff. And I've been doing that for, I started going to Unity of New York 2-ish.
Okay. Did you grow up in a faith-based of any kind home?
No.
How did you find yourself on that spiritual journey?
Oh, wow. That's a great story. So my friend Maria Rangel, who I met in 1999, who was my makeup artist.
Okay.
But she moved to New York, and I met her in New York, and she became my makeup artist. When I was shooting fashion, I shot fashion in New York for 4 or 5 years.
Fun.
And I strongly suggest that every photographer do that.
Okay. Why?
Because every photo shoot, we did a photo shoot today, and I'm looking at your clothes. It's a fashion shoot.
Yeah.
I'm shooting a band tomorrow. I have a stylist. It's a fashion shoot.
Right.
Every shoot you do, no matter if you're doing a corporate shoot, a band, an artist, whatever you're doing, it's a fashion shoot.
Okay.
You got a makeup artist, stylist.
Right.
You've got all of that stuff, and it's really important to know how to do that, but do it in the fashion world.
Okay.
So you get the nuts and bolts of how to do it.
Right.
And it's really important.
Yeah.
And I did it with models, and my last fashion photo shoot was for Spanish Vogue.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a whole other.
That's a whole other world.
Whole other world. But so that's.
So you met Maria.
And then Maria became my really good friend.
Okay.
So Maria was going to a place in LA called Agape.
Okay.
And Michael Beckwith was this minister there, and he started Agape. And she used to get the cassettes from the service on Sunday and then have a bunch of people over her apartment and play the cassette.
Neat.
And when I heard Michael Beckwith speak, I went, that is it. That's what I've been looking for. I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
And then when I was 13 years old, I asked my father, why are we doing this? Because it never made any sense to me. So I was always looking, so Agape and what Michael Beckwith does at Agape Spiritual Center in LA is what Unity does, what Center for Spiritual Living does. It's about you.
Yeah.
It's about really, really learning about you, moving your wounding, understanding you, living your greatness, moving into that place. And that's what that whole movement's about. And when I heard that, I just went, wow, this is it. And then when I went to LA in actually 1999, it's the first time I ever went to Agape.
Okay.
And then when I moved to LA, I started to be a part of Agape and started doing groups and all that good stuff at Agape. But it was one Sunday, Michael Beckwith was coming in town to speak at Unity of New York. And I had never been to Unity, so I went and saw a friend of mine there, Jennifer. And the following week or 2 weeks later, she called me and says, hey, what are you doing on Sunday? I said, watching a football game. She goes, let's go to Unity. And that's how I got to Unity. And then was there all the way up until I moved to LA. And then when I moved to LA in 2011, I started to go to Agape on Sundays and became a part of it. And, you know, that's how I got into that part.
Okay.
But I had also been studying metaphysics in New York at a place called Children of Light with Robert Baker, who was my healer, teacher, mentor, and therapist, and Ron Baker. So that's how I started really getting into the world. And this all happened simultaneously in 1999, the year
you quit
my job.
I was about to say, I was like, 99 was a really big year for you. That year keeps coming up.
And it's not so much about that. The lesson I learned from that is when we can really move within and find out our passion and find out what brings the greatest amount of joy and look at our life and move towards that and step into it, doorways will open up that you would never believe. Meeting Maria, her turning me on to Michael Beckwith and with those that going to Unity, that whole world opened up. And how I got to Children of Light was through a photo shoot that I was going to be doing with Maria and her sister, who was a plus size model.
Okay.
And she brought in another model who I met, my friend Alexandra Bose, who is my best friend to this day, now 20-something years later. And Alex and I connected on a very, very deep soul connection. And she turned me on to Robert Baker and Children of Light.
Okay.
This is all because I ended one part of my life in the corporate world after 18 years.
Yeah.
And moved into doing what I love and brings me the greatest amount of joy. When we do that, doors open. And that's how simultaneously I started working with Robert at Children of Light in 1999 while I was building this whole new life in the world of photography.
That is pretty magical. You know, I'm definitely in that space right now where everything's kind of lining up because I'm leaning more into my talent, skills, abilities, passions, you know, getting deeper in my own spiritual journey. And that's why this radio show is here. It was not on my radar at all. Everything fell apart for everything to fall into place. And I've just, I've just been riding the wave of the co-creation and seeing where it takes me. And it took me to Americana Fest. And then, so anyone that crossed my path at Americana Fest, be it the bathroom, the elevator, standing in line, if you were there, I took it as a sign as I was meant to talk to you. And you were there, took your card down, and made a point to reach back out to you. Because like, well, there's a reason that he's there. And then, doing my homework, I found out that you're channeling Archangel Michael.
Mm-hmm.
That's on my radar, that kind of thing. So if you're comfortable talking about it, could you explain briefly to people who aren't familiar what is channeling? How do you explain that?
Well,
to
we
people?
all do it whether we know it or
Right.
not consciously.
Right.
So like when I went to Children of Light and was working with Robert Baker was a trance channel, meaning he just leaves his body and energies come through and
Okay.
they speak
Mm-hmm.
through him. And he was amongst the many energies that he channeled. One of them, the main one, was Archangel Gabriel.
Okay.
So I would go to, he had doing groups every Sunday night in New York, so I started going to that. And I was working with Robert for a good 3 years. And it was on my 44th birthday, and my friend Deborah Gill asked me to come to her apartment in New York City, and she was going to do a healing session with me. I said, hey, great. It's on my birthday. And when I got on that table, I closed my eyes, and I really wanted to receive what she was giving me on my birthday. So I closed my eyes, and I started repeating to myself, release and let go. Release and let go. And I just kept on repeating that to me while she was doing whatever she was doing. And I felt myself drifting. And then I was in the corner of the room looking down, but I wasn't seeing anything. And then all of a sudden I started seeing these warriors come up, and I called them warriors. And I would see them and they would disappear. And they were like dressed in all different. When that ended, I opened my eyes, and I said, "Wow, Deborah, that was a quick hour." She goes, "That was 2 hours, and you channeled Archangel Michael." So I was connected in that moment, and Archangel Michael came through and spoke to, that energy spoke to Deborah.
Okay.
And I went, wow, okay, yeah, I know. And she goes, you know? And I said, what I knew, that something happened.
Yeah.
So I said, what happened? She explained it to me. And it was really cool because she would go and she knew how to speak to that energy that was coming through me because she used to go to and see Robert do it.
Okay.
So, and we'd be able to ask Gabriel a question. So we knew how to speak to that. And then I called my friend Brian. I said, this is what happened. Let's do this. So we did it. And when I went in, came back, and Brian looked at me and goes, that's the real deal. Because Brian was part of Children of Light. He knew how to speak to the energy. And Michael explained everything to them. That was 2002. I had just turned 44 years old. And I've been doing it now for 20 years.
What's your practice? How do you drop in?
Well, I'm a trance channel. So I just close my eyes and I go through the same thing. I breathe, I close my eyes, release and let go. This is not about me, and I just keep on repeating that. And what happens is I see an energy, like a white, brownish, black energy that comes in. I see that, it hits me, and then I see a flash of white light. And then I see like this hologram of Michael on a horse with a scepter. And then I see that, and the next thing I know, I come back and Michael has spoken to a group. I've done groups, I've done one-on-one sessions. I was doing bi-monthly groups in New York, which actually in those groups came my first book, Journey of the Awakened Heart. And then I was doing bi-monthly groups in New York for years. When I moved to LA, doing bi-monthly groups, I used to do a group every few months at Agape in LA. Then I moved here to Nashville, and I was doing bi-monthly groups. And I've kind of have taken a step back from it because I've been doing it for 20 years. Okay. And now I just bring in Michael for a monthly message. Yeah. And we just did the yearly overview of that. So that is what I do. And it's all about the personal process. So Michael is an angelic shrink, we call it, as Gabriel was. And we'll take you through a personal process. So my book, Journey of the Awakened Heart, Discovering Who You Are and Why You Are Here, is a book about that. Okay. It takes you through 20 chapters of exercises, lessons, teachings, of moving within, and it's a step-by-step process. That's what Michael does. So the way Michael describes it is that it's just a fragment of energy that comes from the archangelic realm of Michael, with specific teachings that coincide with my life's purpose. Okay. And it just so happens that it's interesting. I went to Children of Light. I learned all of this metaphysics and everything. I became a Reiki master teacher. Okay. I studied light ascension therapy with Robert Baker. And it was what he teaches is all about becoming a practitioner, counselor, therapist, whatever you want to do, and helping people go through their process. All right. So the teachings of Michael is about that. It's really about your process in the moment and taking you through that process. I've channeled 5 bodies of teachings from Michael.
What do you mean by that?
He came in and has brought us 5 bodies of teachings. I chose one to be the book I put out in 2011. Okay. But there's 4 more that might be books. The first one was called 120-Day Teachings, which I brought in with my friend Peter Frame. Every week we got together for 3 months, and Michael brought us through this. We transcribed it. I have it. It's literally 3 months that he called the 120-Day Teachings that were the basis of was the teachings of the Buddha.
Okay.
And I brought every week for 3 months, Peter and I got together, and he laid out an entire process of teachings. A friend of mine, Joel Anastasia, who is a partner along with my friend Philip Collins in a group called the Angel News Network, took those teachings and created a book called Life Mastery.
Okay.
And so this is all part of what I've done coinciding with my career as a photographer.
How do you feel your channeling helps you with the photos? Or do you think that they talk to each other at all?
It's not about the channeling, it's about the teachings that help me energetically in photo shoots.
Speak a little more on that.
So it's about the people I photograph with, I work with. It's about them. It's about bringing who they are to the world. It's not about me, which is one of the things I do when I go in and I'm going to do a session with you. And I go in and I say, release and let go, it's not about me. Release and let go, it's not about me. When I'm doing my photo shoot, it's not about me. And maybe you could see that today.
Yeah. No, I mean, you totally let me do what I wanted to do, and the pictures, getting to see through the camera what you took, you capture an essence.
So it's not about me. What's about me is my talents, gifts, abilities, what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling. Like if you may have noticed, I see.
Yeah. It was cute to just watch you get excited. When you're like, oh, you stop right there, like that's perfect, and I could feel through what you were seeing.
And I
had full
see
faith.
it.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, the vision comes. Like there might have been a vision of you, and I go, I got it, because I had just seen it.
Yeah.
And then I go and create it.
Yeah.
It channels through me. I see this. Oh, I see this. And then what you do is you just allow it to happen the way it happens. You get out of the way.
Yeah.
The whole thing in life is getting out of your own way.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of showing up and then getting out of the way.
Getting out of your own way. As Paul Tenalia, who's a senior minister at Unity of New York, would say, when you get that it's not your plan.
Right.
Because I subscribe to that we are living our soul plan.
Yeah.
You can call it a divine plan, whatever. We have a soul plan.
Yeah.
And we're moving on the pathway. It's up to us to be. Robert Baker said this to me in New York. Jeff, you're going to live your soul plan anyway. Wouldn't it be cool if you were conscious of it?
Right.
That's the work that I do.
Yeah.
Is to bring an awareness and consciousness to the essence of who we are. And that is what I intend to capture in the world, the essence of someone's soul. But the funny part about that was when I went back to school to Parsons in New York and studied with Mario Cabrera, he would ask me, so Fasano, what are you saying with your work? You have to know what you're saying with your work, or what you're doing is just arbitrary and meaningless.
Okay.
And I would go, wow, I don't know, wow. And this was when I'm in his class. This is in 1988, 89, 90. And he saw it. He saw it through the images that I was doing in the street. Because I started as he was a photojournalist, and that's how I learned photography. And I said, well, I like to go beneath the surface and he goes, no, that's not it. He goes, it's kind of it, but that's not really it. And we remained friends. I mean, we're still friends. I'm dedicating my book to him. But so I do a photo shoot for Gotham Magazine in New York with Terrence Howard, the actor. Mm. And this was 2003, and we did it all on film.
Cool.
So before the shoot, he was looking out a window in the suite at the W Hotel in Union Square. And I went, dude, don't move. And I grabbed my camera, put film in it, and he was just looking out the window, look at me, click. And I did a whole roll of film of him just looking out the window. And then we did the photo shoot. They didn't use those photos. Terrence and I became friends, and then he came to New York, and he said, "Hey, dude, come down." Dude, he didn't use. He said, "Bro, come down to Times Square. I'm doing this thing." This was right after Crash and Hustle and Flow came out.
Okay.
So he was blowing up.
Right.
So I went down, and he goes, "Bring your book." And that was there was no websites back then.
Right.
I mean, I might have had some, but it was all portfolios. So he goes, "Bring your book." And I went, "Cool." So I brought my book. We went down. We're hanging out. We hung out all day. He was doing his thing, and then we ordered lunch. And he's looking at my book, and he got to a photo of him that was in that roll of film that I shot that the magazine didn't use. And he looked at it. He goes, "Bro, you captured my soul. That's what you do." And right then and there, I hit me. I go, "Oh, that's what Cabrera was trying to find." And he goes, "We got to get you to Hollywood."
Okay.
And I went, "Cool." And that's how I got to Hollywood. That's
okay.
And he hooked me up in Hollywood. And we eventually wound up working together on Cat on a Hot Tin Roof on Broadway for 6 months in 2008. But I immediately went home and I called Mario Cabrera. And I said, "I think I found," he got all these, this was 2003. So this was 5 years after Cabrera said, "You have to know what you're saying with your work, or it's meaningless."
Yeah.
So I said, "All right." And I told him that story. He goes, "Yeah, you got it." I go, "When did you say?" He goes, in the class, when you would do your home. I was doing a whole series of homeless portraits.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "When I would look at those portraits, I would immediately think of Walker Evans." So Walker Evans was an amazing photojournalist who's well known for his portraits of people during the Depression in New York City.
Okay.
And if you look at those portraits and look at those people that he's capturing, I looked at his work, Eugene Smith's work, and Dorothea Lange's work. And when you look at their work, especially Dorothea Lange and Walker Evans, and you look into those portraits, you are seeing into the depth of that person. That's what they captured. And that's what I said I wanted to do.
Okay.
I didn't know that's what I wanted, but what I wanted, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And Cabrera saw that. And he goes, "That's what you were doing in the class. There was something inside of me that goes and sees that."
Yeah.
And that's what comes out in people, which coincides with what I do with Archangel Michael's work.
Yeah.
So what Michael said to us back then, to Brian, is that we're connecting with, he called me the wonderful and glorious soul you call the channel, never used his names, and said his life's passion and whatever that was, not in these exact words, that's why we're connecting with him.
Okay.
Thus, what I do as a photographer is going beneath the surface and capturing the essence of someone's soul. It was Terrence Howard who put a name to it, who said, "That's what you do."
Yeah.
And Cabrera saw that when I would show him the stuff that I was doing. And just recently I called Cabrera to tell him that, I'm dedicating my book to him and stuff like that. And we started this conversation about that. And he goes, "Yeah, man, I saw that when you were doing that whole series of homeless people. It was like looking at Walker Evans."
Yeah.
And that's how deeply Walker Evans influenced.
But he didn't want to just come right out and tell you. He wanted you to figure out for yourself what you were doing.
So I asked Mario, "So what is it?" He goes, "I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
You got to find it yourself."
Yeah.
Which is what a good therapist does.
Yeah.
It leads you.
Right.
Which is what Michael does. Michael leads us to seeing it in ourselves through exercises and bringing out your feelings and then finding, "Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Mario Cabrera would not tell me for all those years what it was." And then it was Terrence Howard, bless his heart and soul, that saw it. And saw it when he looked at his picture. And that's what he did, and that's...
I'm super excited to look at my pictures, to see what you've captured, and the moments that I know I didn't really look a lot when you were showing me, because I can't go to that place because I get emotional. But I know that when I look at those photos, it's making me kind of get a little misty-eyed just saying this, of how I know I'm gonna look at it and know how beautiful I am. But like, we just live in a world that makes that really hard to recognize that all the time.
Well, that's why we have. It's really important, I feel, to let go of the world outside of us.
Right. Be in the world, but not of it.
Right.
That's the goal.
And feel it.
Yeah.
Because that's what, when I'm shooting, I learned how to use lighting. Cabrera was, photography is all about lighting. And if you don't know how to light, forget it.
Well, here's the deal. Okay, if we're capturing a soul, it's light.
Right.
So you need light for light. You need the light to bring out the light in somebody. And that's say metaphorically, like my light helps bring out your light. And so here's just this external light to bring out your internal light.
But it's all about feeling.
Yeah.
So Michael's work is all about feeling your feelings, allowing the feelings to move, get in touch with every feeling that's coming up. As a photographer, to me, even with my own work, I'll go through our photo shoot and I'll choose the images that I feel.
Right.
That, oh wow, I felt that. Okay, I'll choose that one.
Yeah.
If I'm not feeling it, in the world of art, then if I'm not feeling the work, then if it's not hitting me somewhere deep inside of me, then I'm not going to. I just won't work.
Yeah.
You know? There won't be any resonance, and it's subjective. And as Mario Cabrera said, that's why they call it art.
Right.
If, people see it. To me, I have to feel it.
Right.
If I'm not feeling it, if I'm not feeling anything in life, then I'm not doing it.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess that is what good art is, that it elicits an emotion. It elicits a feeling, whether that be it makes you mad or it makes you sad, it makes you happy, it turns you on, like it weirds you out. That's when I know I'm in front of a piece that, to me, because like you said, it's subjective, that piece was meant for me. I was meant to see that piece because it brought out this feeling. And the way I kind of see art is that we recognize ourselves in it. That's why we like it, because there's something inside that painting, that movie, that book, that song, that's inside you that you're not paying attention to, for good or bad or indifferent. Yeah. And this tangible external thing is showing that to you and giving you that offering to pay attention to that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're
if you don't feel it, then it's linear.
Yeah. I mean, it's just there, but the frequency of it is a little dull for you. And as a creator, what Andy Warhol said, it's not our job to determine if it's good or bad, it's just our job to make it and share it, you know, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's there's no way you're going to create something that every 7+ billion people on the planet are going to like.
Yeah, Andy Warhol's gift was that he was a great entrepreneur and could sell anything to anybody. He sold his artwork. Yeah. Which I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's poppy. It's pop art. So it's got its thing. I don't know that it ever really elicited like a deep feeling inside of me. It was just, it's kind of like, oh, that's pretty. I like the colors.
Tough to look at Campbell's soup cans.
Yeah, that series didn't do anything for me, but I like his portrait series, and he's just an interesting character. I think it's really just the character of Warhol that made his art go anywhere more than necessarily his art would have had it not been attached to such a character.
As Mario Cabrera once said, that's why they call it art.
Yeah.
I remember we're in the darkroom at Parsons one Friday night, and somebody came out with something, and he looked at it, and they asked him to critique it, and he wasn't even in our class. So he did, and started doing it, and it wasn't. It was totally subjective. He was pointing out things technically in the image that the guy could work on, and I remember the guy. He didn't receive it. He goes, "Well, I love this." And Cabrera turned around to the whole room. He had this big booming voice. He goes, "Well, that's why they call it art, I guess." And right then and there, I go, yeah,
Yeah.
That's why they call it art, because it's art is subjective.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are bands and artists who I just don't feel or get.
Right.
Who people absolutely go, whoa,
right.
man. I go, not feeling it.
Nothing's for everybody, but everything's for somebody.
Right.
It's just a matter of finding your somebodies, the people who are vibing at the same frequency as you, and so your art speaks to them because y'all are on the same level. You're coming at life from a similar thing, and so you recognize each other in that. This is a little doubling back, but when you're channeling, are you cognizant? Do you remember what you said?
No.
Or no? Okay.
Now I record.
Yeah.
Just as you're recording this now, I record everything.
That's what I have to do with my music. When I write, the music it all comes at the same time. If I don't hit record, I won't know what I did. If that recording is like 4.5 minutes, that's the song. It's a 4.5 minute song. It all just flows and then ties itself up in a little bow. I just open up the faucet and let it go.
You know, long time ago when I was living in New York, I saw an interview with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
And the interviewer asked her, what is your process? Now, she's trained as an actress, just like I'm trained as a photographer. Mm-hmm. I went to class, I went to school, I learned light, I learned that to get all of the mechanics of it, all the technical stuff of it. But it's art.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to school to learn how to use artificial light, tungsten lights and all that. So I knew how to use the equipment, I knew it, but it was still always about how I saw it and how I see light and feel light. So she has all of that technical stuff down, and she's a wonderful actress. And he goes, what's your process? She goes, right before I'm ready to do a scene, I go off by myself, I close my eyes, and I ask God and universe to just keep me open in every moment to connect with what I'm supposed to do in that moment. Keep me open. Keep me open. That's exactly, and I went, wow. So as I was saying earlier, it's not about me. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. So before I did my photo shoot with you, I probably walked out, and I closed my eyes, and I do that process. Mm-hmm. I just go in and say, universe, God, get me out of the way. Keep me out of the way. Allow me to be open so when the moments come, I am there to capture that moment. I have gone into photo shoots where I've had, like we did it today. Mm-hmm. We sat out back, it was the end.
Yeah.
And I had a vision of what I wanted, but then all things started happening. I said, let's go and do what I originally saw. And then we shot it, I looked at it, we both went, nah, that's not it.
Yeah.
So I could have forced trying to get
the
what I think I wanted.
Right.
As opposed to opening up and letting the moments come when they present themselves, and we're open to capture that. She was open in the moment in a scene where she could have tried to force what she thought, but she said, let it flow. I'm in the moment. But your talents, gifts, and abilities and all the technical stuff is the foundation that allows you to open your heart space up and your soul space up to be and let it flow in the moment with someone else.
Yeah. It was easy to see that you were that you were open like that. It was easy to see when you saw something that you didn't expect to see and then went after it, and that was fun to watch. It was adorable, because you're just like, oh, no, wait, stay right there. Don't move.
The thing about being an artist and doing it is we get into our comfort zones.
Yeah.
It's about testing pushing yourself to the next, over through that.
This is
that
outside of
comfort.
my comfort zone, because this is a big step in investing in myself, which is so hard to do. I don't know why. Other than, I do know why. I'm scared of my power. I'm scared of all the abundance on the other side of showing up for yourself. But this is a big step in claiming what I'm doing, claiming
it's really more
me.
about, it's not so much about what's on the other side of it. It's about honoring the wounds inside of you that are saying, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not perfect enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough.
Right.
Which some way, shape, or form we were conditioned and programmed
Totally.
with. That is not good enough was my biggest, is still,
Yeah.
not so much anymore, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And it will always come up.
I don't think you can get away from it in a society that is hell-bent on reminding you that. Like, you never have enough, you're never going to be enough, you need more, there's not enough for everybody. Scarcity mindset. We live in a scarcity mindset.
Well, where does that come from?
It's a nature-nurture thing.
Comes from mom and dad.
Nature nurtures trickled down from past generations of hurt people, just not understanding their pain and not understanding how they're passing their pain down. And at a certain point, somebody in the bloodline needs to say, we're done with this. We're not doing this anymore. And it's true that when we heal ourselves, we heal the collective, because A, we're all connected. B, we can't be what we can't see. We're creatures that learn by being modeled to, being shown. And it's a messy, scary, lots of times quiet, lonely place when you're transmuting and transforming. But if you have the courage in any way to do that out loud in front of people, which I hope this show allows for, letting people talk about their journeys and their processes and not just only the success, that really makes a difference when we can let other people see us heal. We can let other people see that, I had this struggle, and that song is really sad, and I can understand. I look sad in my face. It's a sad song, and it's making you feel stuff, but that's the medicine that I needed to get through that, and I hope that this helps you get through yours. And if I just kept those for myself, I'm not doing myself a favor, and I'm not doing the collective a favor, because here's a little nugget that might help get you through something. And I don't know why it feels even kind of like pretentious or presumptuous and that's to say that I would be able to make a difference with my art. But that's part of what we're talking about, is that conditioning, that feeling of not enough, not worthy enough, not being imposter syndrome. I think we all just kind of walk through with that, and it's a long journey to get off of it.
Well, it's about reparenting ourselves.
Yeah.
It's about, because when we were growing up, our parents only taught us what they knew.
Right.
And didn't teach us what they didn't know.
Right.
And whether you were told you weren't worthy anything, or never told you were.
Right.
I grew up with never hearing anybody say, "Oh, wow, good job." My first passion is baseball.
Okay.
And I played baseball growing up. I wanted to play pro baseball. I love baseball. I literally love it. It was in my blood. When my father said, when you picked up a bat when you were 3 or 4 years old, you held it naturally, like it was in your blood.
Yeah.
And I still love it to this day, but my father could never tell me that.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah.
He could never say, because he just wasn't in him.
Right.
So I never received that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
understand
what that was.
Yeah.
Some people, on the other hand, were told they were worthless. Just literally, you're not going to amount to anything, yada, 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 because that's where their parents were.
Right. Almost both are detrimental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you never have that reaffirmation, oh, great game, Jeff.
Yeah.
My father could never do that. My mother could never do that.
Yeah.
They didn't know how, because they never received it.
Right.
So we have to, if we choose, to go through the process of reparenting that little kid, those little kids inside of us, and doing it for ourselves,
Right.
which is the work that Michael brings us through, the work that Robert Baker, Ron Baker, who I'm working with now, does, and other, at Agape, at Unity. That's what all of that's about.
Okay.
It's about moving through that so we can get to that place where when we're feeling not good enough, because it's only a feeling.
Right.
Doesn't mean we are
No.
not good enough.
It's just a story.
Or we aren't. All it is that I'm feeling not good enough right now.
Yeah.
I feel that not good enough before I do a photo shoot. I feel that when I'm coming into your photo shoot. It's always there. But I know that story so well.
Right.
So it's about having new tools and then reconditioning ourselves that we are worthy, that we are loved, that we are good enough.
Right.
And we have to bring in those wounded little kids, and we have to start doing it and move into the reality of us being adults and knowing that that wounded child has really driven our life. So I know people who are incredibly talented and gifted, but they're not good enough is so strong that they won't go and do it.
Yeah.
Why? Because they don't want to feel those feelings.
Right.
They don't want to transcend it. Those feelings are much more dominant than what is on the other side of those feelings.
Yeah.
And that is what's really important. That's what I used to teach in my groups and one-on-ones and workshops and stuff like that. And then moving past that to moving into an abundance consciousness as opposed to struggling to survive life,
Right.
fighting deprivation and all of that stuff, because I learned all of that from mom and dad. And then taking it to another level, but I'm not talking about 3D linear third dimensional monetary abundance. What Michael talks about, it's our abundance,
Right.
who we are. Who we are being is our abundance. Our talents and gifts are abundance.
Right.
Then it's about how we honor and value all of that, bring that to the world, and then how we measure it. Then that's up to us. We can measure it in money, or we can measure it in barter, we can measure it in energetic exchanges. That's all up to us, is how we measure what we're bringing to the world in giving. Because there needs to be a balance of giving and receiving. If I'm giving you a 4-hour photo shoot, then I need to be replenished. My energy needs to be replenished for those 4 hours that I'm giving you.
Right.
And how do I measure that is I could barter with you, I could do an exchange with you, I could charge you money, I could do this, but there has to be that exchange.
Right.
And the only way we know how to do that is if we start honoring and valuing and loving ourselves. Wow, I'm giving this energy for 4 hours of my talents, gifts, and abilities. How am I going to measure that with you? Oh, I want to charge you $10,000. Oh no, wow. You can do this for me? Well, let's barter this.
Yeah.
So, but that exchange needs to be there.
Yeah.
But the only way that exchange is cognitive is us knowing our value.
Right.
The value of what I'm giving you. The value of my energy that I'm expending in these 4 hours. The value of this piece of art that I have created. The value of this song that I have just written. That's how we know it, and our value comes through the abundance of who we are being and our talents, gifts, and abilities. That's how all of this works. So that's really how we measure it.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important to know. But like I'm saying, the only way we know that is when we do the inner work.
Yeah.
To begin to honor and value and love ourselves, to know that.
Yeah.
And that's the whole the crux of all of this. It's really moving in deeply enough to love, honor, and value ourselves. That's the essence of Michael's teachings, and feeling all of our feelings and allowing those feelings and that energy to move within us all the time. And then that's the process.
It's a really beautiful thing. I'm super appreciative of your time and doing this shoot with me. I can't wait to see what it comes out. I just want to ask one more question, and it's really, do you have something that you can leave the listeners with? You've given them so much, but if there's some daily something that they can do, just, something they can bring into their life that's feasible, that they could start right now doing, some little practice, some little nugget of wisdom to keep in the back of their mind, to send them off with, to help them reach what you've been talking about. What would you say?
The first question to ask yourself is, how much do I love myself?
Okay.
And be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror. Go into your bathroom and look into the mirror, into your own eyes, and say, how much do I love you?
You just saying that question makes me tear up, being very emotional, putting myself in that place to actually say that out loud. And obviously, I got some things to look at if just like just being offered that question makes me emotional. That even though I feel like I'm more proud of myself now than I've ever been in my whole life. I've been getting sober and jumping into this radio show where I don't know anything of what's happening. I'm just teaching myself as I go, and I'm totally co-creating, riding the wave, just showing up for my part. But obviously there's still some layers there, of self-love that's missing. So yeah, that's a good nugget. That hit deep.
Yeah, it does. And that's what I do. I'll look in the mirror in the morning, and there's an exercise in my book, second chapter, about doing all of that. Michael takes us through a process of doing that.
Okay.
And then being with the feelings. Like what I just said, feelings started to surface.
Yeah.
And if I was in a session with you, I'd say, okay, what are you feeling right now? What are you feeling? What am I feeling right now? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling I'm feeling this. And then underneath those feelings come more feelings, and the energy starts to move. So what I just said in that exercise opened your heart and said, wow, how much do I really love myself? And then go deeper. If Michael was working, so how does that make you feel? Like, what are the feelings? So you can be with that. So when you look in the mirror, how much do I love myself? Just that question elicited feelings within you. And then what's underneath those feelings? Wow, I really haven't even paid much attention to myself. Whatever it is.
Right.
And that's one thing you can do. I remember in one of my very first sessions with Robert Baker back in 1999. We were in a session, and he looked at me, he said, so Jeff, what do you need? And I looked.
That's another really deep question that's just like piercing me.
Right. I looked at him, and I didn't know what he was asking me. So, and he looked at me right in my eyes and said, Jeff, what do you need? And I lost it. Because nobody, and I was 40 years old, nobody in my entire life had ever asked me, what do you need? Not my mother, not my father, not my brother, not anybody had ever asked me. And the reason why I broke down crying and lost it is because it was of many feelings came up, and he would just sit there and he goes, I knew it. And I looked at him and I said, nobody's ever asked me that question. Nobody's ever asked me, what do you need, Jeff? And I was so touched by it because it was the first time I've ever heard it, that somebody cared enough to ask. It wasn't me, the 40-year-old man sitting there. What happened was it hit this 6 or 7, 10-year-old boy inside of me who was raised on taking care of everybody else's needs. And I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that then. But I lost it, and I cried like a baby. No, I had never heard that. Nobody ever cared enough to ask me that question. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't me, the 40-year-old.
Right.
It was the 10-year-old kid inside of me.
Yeah.
That nobody ever cared enough to say, what do you need? And the only way I knew how to, quote unquote, get love from somebody or be loved was to take care of their needs.
Oh, I know.
And that's the only, and that's the work that that's what we have to transcend inside of us.
Right.
And I remember that, and he just came over and he hugged me. And I remember that so clearly. And he hugged me, and I went, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
So I remember that moment, and that is part of how much do I love me? What do I need? And really move in. And then when you look in the mirror and ask yourself that, one of the exercises at Michael is stop. What am I feeling right now? When I'm looking at myself in the mirror, asking yourself, how much do I love me? And see what comes up. And it's about being brutally honest with yourself.
Right.
And just opening up to that. So that's something that people can do every day.
Yeah.
And you don't even
that's
have
a
to
good
ask.
check-in.
You don't have to, I add the mirror part because, like I said, that's an exercise in my book. It's a deeper exercise. It goes deeper than that. And then just ask yourself, what am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
And that's really where we have to go. I mean, the only way life is gonna happen and we move through life is all based upon us honoring, valuing, and loving ourselves. Because the only relationship we're ever having is the relationship we're having with ourselves. It might sound cliche to everyone out there, but once we start to shift and change the relationship we're having with ourselves, every relationship outside of ourselves will shift and change.
100%.
And once that starts to happen, because we are training people outside of ourselves how to relate to us. I remember doing this work, and my relationship with my father just gradually kept on shifting and changing because I was changing.
Right,
and the
right.
relationships that I was having with people that I unconsciously was training them to do, that was shifting and changing. And then there's a whole bunch of those relationships that I didn't want to have anymore.
Yeah.
Because they were all based upon an old version of me.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's how so the whole process of all of this, as Michael would say, is we're here to bring you to a place where you're more conscious and aware of you. Which is why Robert Baker said to me, Jeff, you're going to live your soul plan anyway. Wouldn't it be cool if you were conscious for it?
Well, I don't know that there's a better way to end that, better way to say that.
That's what it's all about. And then we could just live our life from there and letting go of the 3D outside of ourselves.
Right. Jeff, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for your light, for your wisdom, for all the work that you've done to get where you're at right now, to be able to pass along these golden nuggets of helpful wisdom. And thank you so much for the photo shoot. I'm really excited to see those. So you have the books coming out, yes?
So I've got my very first photography book called Americana Portrait Sessions, published by Vanderbilt University Press. I have a partnership with the Americana Music Association here. I've been doing portrait sessions there for 11 years.
Nice.
That's the foundation of the book. But the book really goes all the way back. It goes all the way back to 2003 when I photographed Wilco for Paste magazine. That's the photograph that's going to begin the book.
Cool.
I shot on film for Paste magazine, and that, thanks to Paste magazine and working with them for a whole bunch of years, that is the photo shoot that brought me out into the world of music. Okay.
That's a perfect one to start the book with then.
And so it goes all the way back to that, and then it encompasses so much more of, it's a good 20 years of work in that world and my interpretation or feeling of Americana music.
Yeah.
But like I said, the basis of it is, the foundation of it is the work I've been doing at Americana Fest every year with the Americana Music Association.
Well, I'm really excited to see that. I know that's a big win for you, being the first book coming out with your stuff. I think the world's ready. It's time to let them see all of the beautiful souls that you've been capturing in these beautiful moments of capturing the essence. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We live in a very heavy time, and there are a lot of people, places, things, and ideas that add to that weight. However, there are moments when we can get a glimpse at who we are and what we need to be the best of who we are. Seeing yourself captured in the best light from the best angle can change how you see and feel about yourself. Said in another way, it can make you fall in love with yourself. Jeff Fasano does not only that, but he also gives you a glimpse of your soul in his photos. His understanding of how we are here to feel ourselves in this world no doubt helps him see those on the other side of the lens as being washed in pure, authentic beauty. This will not be the last time you hear me or a guest get emotional. When I have these conversations, I don't think much about anyone else other than the person I'm talking to. Sure, I want to ask interesting questions, but I also don't want to stray away from authentic, organic moments because I'm worried that a certain demographic will be turned off. Jeff and I both got emotional during our conversation, and that's how you know you're having a real moment with someone, when you're both feeling it. I hope this and all the conversations you hear on the Doers of Things make you feel something. I want to thank you for being here and for listening to my conversation with Jeff Fasano. I just want to remind you of the value for value model this listening experience runs on. My current pledge to you is to never have sponsorship ads or corporate commercials. I also have no plans on creating tiered content or a subscription fee that prices people out of the experience of hearing their fellow humans share their stories. All content is for all people, all the time. I can do that with your help as a producer of the show via your time, talent, and treasure. So if you enjoy the show, please consider becoming a producer to whatever level you can. Head on over to thedoersofthings.com in the Contribute tab to learn more about how you can jump on board. Until next time you tune into the Doers of Things, I'm Mary Brett saying, ask yourself what you need